Welcome to another episode of Millennial Real Life Budget Review. Today, we are taking a look at a real millennial's budget anonymously. We are taking a look at a librarian who lives in Long Island, New York, and has racked up $56,000 in debt. Let's pick apart this budget and see how we can help them get it turned around. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Justine. Here we talk about all ways to achieve financial confidence and crush debt that leads to more fun and fewer payments. Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. Rocket Money is an app that can help you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money, but more on that in just a bit. I saw this application and it really caught my eye because they are in kind of a sticky situation. So I asked, what do you do for work? They're a librarian. Their annual salary is $100,000, combined full-time and part-time job, plus $700 a month from their boyfriend. I asked, what is the biggest thing you struggle with financially? They said, trying to do everything at once. I want to contribute to everything and it feels like I don't make a dent on any goals. Aha, yes. That whole conundrum of trying to do all the things at the same time and getting absolutely nowhere in any direction. I asked, what are your top 2 to 3 financial goals you want to accomplish? They said, number 1, pay down debt. 2, save 3 months emergency fund. And 3, increase income. They have $53,338 in debt. I asked, how much do you have in savings for an emergency fund? They said $3,000. Thank you. I like that. We have a starting point and it's not 0, which is awesome. I asked anything else you'd like us to know about your financial situation. They said, I am 32 years old and before purchasing a home in 2021, I paid down $50,000 of student loan debt. I had savings for a down payment and some left in my emergency fund. But over time, I racked up credit card debt in furnishing and making repairs on the house. My mortgage is definitely the largest expense in my budget, but I don't regret taking on this expense on my own considering the price of housing and rent in my area. Yes, Long Island is definitely a high cost of living area. My plan when buying was to rent out part of the house to contribute to the mortgage cost. Currently, my boyfriend pays $700 a month in addition to buying most groceries and household items. So that's how they're splitting up expenses. This year was a wake-up call that I don't want to keep working 2 jobs just to have it go towards debt payments. I get that. I started working on paying down my debt and trying to get rid of the larger payments. I paid off my car of $2,000. Man, I mean, you must have either had a really old car or you just didn't, maybe you had already been making payments for a couple of years and working the snowball method. Snowball method is meaning they are paying off the debt according to the lowest outstanding balance and kind of working their way out of that. I struggle with wanting to do everything at once. Some months I'll focus on paying down debt. Others I focus on contributing to retirement savings. Currently have $105,000 in retirement. I also struggle with relying on the credit cards when a big expense comes up and not wanting to deplete the savings account. Oh my gosh, I have so many comments, so many things for you to consider, and honestly just redirecting your energy and focus to one task. Before I get into those recommendations, let's hop over into their budget and see what we're working with. Okay, here's what we got working with. Okay, so we've got a $6,000 total monthly income. We've got a lot of debts. Holy cow, nine debts, many credit cards, and your student loans, which are almost completely paid off. I mean, well done. I gotta give you kudos on the student loans because you have done an exceptional job on paying that off. You know, I think you said $50,000 in student loan debt. However, I'm wondering how you did that with the snowball, because snowball, you pay off the lowest outstanding balance unless you were just focused on individual student loans. But let's see what your interest rate is on a lot of these credit cards. We've got anywhere between 16.5% to 29%, although these two, Credit Union and Wells Fargo, are completely paid off. So we're not gonna count those. Paid off in 2024. Okay, great. Let's just take them off the list then. We don't need to worry about them. The other ones you've got, Capital One, $14,000. I know when you move into a house, we're dealing with this too. It's like you want to tackle the repairs, you want to tackle the furnishings. You need different furnishings because this is a different space. I totally get that. And also we have to move as fast as cash. You also said you have a $3,000 emergency fund. When I'm taking a look at some of these fixed expenses here, like you have the mortgage, cell phone, internet, all of this stuff. Where is your, we're gonna include this. There's your groceries. You did say boyfriend is taking care of that. Gas. I'm gonna call this kind of the necessary stuff. So that's let's call it $3,400 in basic living expenses, the mortgage, cell phone, internet, electricity, all your utilities, some of your insurances, and then groceries, and then car, gas. So if 1 month is $3,400 and they want to build it up to 3 months, that's $10,200. Let's call it a $10,000 emergency fund is the goal. So you need $7,000 left to really fund that. And we need to be putting more than $100 into the emergency fund. That is where I would start. Also, you have a net of $250-ish. I'm sure we could cut some things like $185 for your car insurance. I know you live in New York. I feel like there's something we could do with your car insurance premium to get that amount lower. Yeah, the $2,400, I just want to see this as a percentage. Oh boy. So your mortgage is nearly 40% of your take home. That is high, very, very high. I know you said you don't have regrets. You're also working 2 jobs just to make ends meet with the mortgage plus the minimum payments. Plus, I don't even see anything else here about like home improvement, home repairs. Oh, $200 here. Okay, well, if you ask me, it's probably more than $200 that you're paying on home maintenance at any given point, right? This is where I'd be having some conversations with your boyfriend. Like, he's getting a steal of a deal if he's only paying $700 a month, which is not even, what is that? Not even a third of your mortgage payment. I get that he's covering groceries, but I feel like if you guys are serious, I guess this is a sidebar conversation, but if you guys are serious about doing life together, you're thinking about moving the relationship to the next step, this is where we really need to be combining forces financially, because on your own, I can see where you are starting to burn out. Also, I have a hunch that your spending, just your regular spending, is probably more than what you've got listed here. Restaurants, clothing, only as needed. This is an average of what I've spent this year, just $27 per month. Gifts was only $50 per month. What about restaurants? I have a feeling this spending may need some working, and you might need to take a look at. And if you want to take a look at your spending habits very quickly, luckily there's an app for that. Rocket Money is a great app to help you with your spending patterns, and it can also capture that very, very quickly, so you can get a sense of what are the biggest things, biggest areas that you tend to spend your money on. For example, I could see exactly how often I went to Costco, and then they could actually give me an average amount of all of my Costco trips with no calculator needed from me. Plus, Rocket Money can help you negotiate your bills. All you have to do is upload a photo of your bill, and then they start the negotiation process. You can do this with your cell phone bill, your car insurance premium, your internet bill, and this saves you a lot of time and headache out of your busy day, especially if you work at 2 jobs. And it can locate and cancel unwanted subscriptions. They can even cancel it on your behalf if you take advantage of the app's premium features. Now, Rocket Money has helped its customers save $500 million, that's $740 in the year, on canceled subscriptions. I think this is a great supplement to anybody who is looking to just figure out their spending patterns or cutting down and cutting off things that they no longer use. If you want to try Rocket Money, head over to rocketmoney.com/debt-free-millennials to get started. Thank you so much to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into it. All right, so the first thing to work on with your goals, with your financial goals, is definitely working your emergency fund, building it up to the 3-month emergency fund of $10,000. We need $7,000 more at a pace of just $100 per month. I mean, that's not going to do us any good, right? That'll take way too long. 6 years? No way. We've got to work much faster on that emergency fund. That means pausing any extra debt payments that you might be making at this point in time and moving everything over to the emergency fund. Now, I don't typically give this advice. However, you are kind of in a unique situation. I mean, the first thing is maybe having a conversation with your boyfriend or just getting real with yourself about the relationship to see if there's any wiggle room in having him contribute more than $700 a month to the rent. If this could be a true 50-50 split, and maybe that means doing a 50-50 split on the groceries. That's kind of my first action item for you. Once we kind of figure out what the game plan is there between the two of you, I normally don't give this advice. However, you do have 27%. You've got this little guy, might be okay. You've got a couple of debts that I feel like potentially we could consolidate and do either a personal loan that has a lower interest rate for you and do some debt consolidation there, or we look at doing a balance transfer. Maybe you've already done that with Wells Fargo. I'm not sure. Wells Fargo, I hate to see them on the list. Trust me. Do not like them at all. Very predatory banks. You guys got to watch the Netflix episode on Wells Fargo, Dirty Money. Classic. Make you rethink about working with Wells Fargo. But I would consider doing a debt consolidation or a balance transfer on some of these because the interest rate is killing you and so are the minimum payments. I actually went ahead and filled out your debt reduction calculator just to see where we're at with everything. And you've got, the $56,000 in debt. Your minimums are $1,572. At this minimum monthly payment amount, it actually doesn't look too bad. To be honest, my goal for everybody is to get them debt free in 5 years or less. 3 years would be awesome. Anything less than that would be like cherry on top. So you can actually get everything paid off in about 4 years at the monthly minimum payment amount, which is kind of wild. I get though that this 0% interest rate is just an intro, so it's probably going to take you a little bit longer than the 4 years once this interest rate kicks in. Also, same with Citi. Was there not an interest rate for Citi? Intro rate. So when those interest rates kick in, it'll probably bump you out of this 4-year payoff plan and get you into maybe like 5 or 6 years. So I agree that you do need to increase your income with your third financial goal. And that may mean that we are looking for jobs outside of what I'm calling like the public sector, because you're a librarian, you work for your city. Maybe it's looking for a promotion within the library. So I'm not sure what that is, but I definitely agree with you that income needs to go up somehow. But your debt payoff plan actually isn't that bad if you want to pay off Home Depot in almost 3 years. Which I'm assuming you probably don't want to do. You want to be able to free up more money. So let's say if your guy was really like going to pay 50-50 on this instead of $700, what if he gave you, I don't know, $1,400? What if he doubled his payment here? That gives you an extra There's $946 here. So if we did $1,000 towards your emergency fund, that's 7 months of really buckling down and building up your savings over the next 7 months. Then we can transfer that $1,000 into your debt payoff plan. And so then I'm going to do $2,572 here. So an extra $1,000. And if we're talking about 7 months from now, you know, let's take a look at this. Boop, 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 boop. What if you started this in January and then you got it done in July? Here's where things start shaping up in a really, really great way. So maybe this extra $700 isn't coming from your boyfriend, but maybe it's a pay raise that you experience yourself by changing jobs. This is where I feel like things look really optimistic, because then you get debt free in 2 years, 4 months, and I didn't do any debt consolidation for you. You have options. That's the biggest thing. For you, you kept saying like you're trying to do all the things at once. Stop, refocus, and start with the emergency fund. Continue to track your income and expenses using your budget spreadsheet. We're gonna find ways to cut from our budget if we can, although it looks pretty trim other than the mortgage payment. That's the biggie. Making sure that we find ways to increase our job networking, filling out resumes. You're actually doing this at a really great time of year because the new year sets new budgets. Hopefully there's more positions open for you. And we're only talking about maybe potentially adding an extra $700 in take home. So I think that could work well for you. You also have the option of taking a look at the debt consolidation. You also said that you have been relying on the credit cards when something big pops up, and I want you to really focus on building that emergency fund up specifically for that reason, okay? Minimum payments on the debt. Really focus your intent on your emergency fund savings. We're talking about $7,000 that you need to grab fast in order to make that happen. Any unexpected expenses that pop up between now and then and beyond, you're pulling from the emergency fund, and then you continue to restock it until it hits 10K, and then you move on to your debt payoff plan and start working that. If I were you, while you're working on building up your emergency fund, take a look at different debt consolidation options to see how you can get those interest rates lower and see how that affects the minimum monthly payment, because the minimum monthly payments are also killing you, and then the conversation with the boyfriend. That's my advice. Henceforth, proceed and make sure that you're having open conversations with your partner about this. I have no doubts that you can buckle down and get this done. It's just refocusing your energy a little bit. Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. If you are interested in having your bills lowered and negotiated, canceled subscriptions on your behalf, plus much more, and just managing your money and getting better, check out Rocket Money. Head over to rocketmoney.com/debt-free-millennials to get started. I will link that in the description box below. If you continue to enjoy these budget review videos and you're vibing on them, give me a thumbs up. That really helps out the channel, and it helps me out to say, okay, I'm gonna create a little bit more content around the budget reviews. I love them, you love them. Let's continue to get better with our money. We'll catch you in the next one.